Thank you for joining Money Simplified, your guide to money and mutual funds, presented by Franklin Templeton Mutual Fund. We appreciate your participation. At PersonalFN, we are committed to help investors achieve their financial goals and objectives. Our core proposition is built around unbiased research and financial planning. We wish to thank Franklin Templeton Mutual Fund for partnering with us in this investor education and awareness initiative. Welcome to session 19 of Money Simplified, your guide to money and mutual funds. We are glad to have you with us for our 19th session on tax planning with mutual funds. So let us now begin with our learning session today. All of us engage in an economic activity and work hard to make a living. But as we do that, it becomes imperative for us to work a little harder and smarter to save our taxes the legitimate way, so that it can help us to make our dreams come true. While there are a host of provisions under the Income Tax Act 1961 and numerous investment avenues in our learning session today, we'll take you through how you could use mutual funds in your tax planning exercise and the aspects you must consider while investing in them so as to save tax through this investment instrument the prudent way. So let us understand the special category of schemes that mutual funds offer in order to save tax. First, equity-linked savings schemes or ELSS. This is a category in mutual funds that offer tax-saving benefits to investors. It is popularly known as tax-saving mutual funds. They are diversified equity funds as they invest a dominant portion of their assets in equities across market capitalization segments and sectors. A distinguishing feature about them is that ELSS are subject to a compulsory lock-in period of 3 years. Most ELSS allow a minimum investment of as low as Rs 500, while there is no upper limit. Like any other equity mutual fund scheme, ELSS allow you to invest either in lump sum or through the systematic investment plan SIP, which is a mode of investing. Investment in ELSS is possible irrespective of income earned by the individual or whether he is old or new to investing in equity markets. And what's the tax benefit? Investment in ELSS makes an investor eligible for a tax deduction under Section 80C of the Income Tax Act 1961, subject to a maximum limit of Rs 1 lakh. Moreover, at the end of the lock-in period and at the exit, if there is any gain, it is classified as long-term capital gains as per the current tax provisions, and being an equity scheme, investors need not pay any tax on long-term capital gains in ELSS. Then there are RGESS mutual funds, that is Rajiv Gandhi Equity Savings Schemes. Rajiv Gandhi Equity Savings Scheme RGSS is a tax saving avenue introduced by the central government in the Union Budget 2012-13. Mutual funds too are eligible to launch mutual fund schemes investing in instruments as enunciated for RGESS. It is noteworthy that RGESS is targeted towards attracting new retail investors into equity markets. Thus, only first-time equity investors who do not have a demat account or have one but not made any transactions in equity till date of the notification of RGESS, that is November 23, 2012, can claim tax benefit under RGESS. Moreover, RGESS is available to those whose gross annual income is less than or equal to Rs 12 lakh. In case of mutual funds, the units of RGESS eligible exchange traded funds and mutual fund schemes which are traded and listed on the exchange can be considered for investing in RGESS to avail a tax benefit. Also, apart from RGESS mutual fund schemes, the other securities eligible for investing in RGESS and to avail a tax benefit are top 100 stocks listed under the S&P BSE 100 and CNX 100, Stocks of Maharatna, Navratna and Miniratna public sector undertakings, including the follow-on public offers, and IPOs of public sector undertakings with government stake not less than 51% with revenue of Rs 4,000 crores in the last 3 years. So by investing predominantly in large cap and PSU domain, RGESS attempts to provide a relatively safer avenue in equity investing and ensure liquidity. Moreover, in order to make it convenient to identify the eligible stocks and mutual funds, the stock exchange have to furnish a list of RGESS eligible stocks, ETFs, mutual fund schemes on their website. Also, whenever there is any change in the said list, the revised list will also be forwarded to the depositories at monthly intervals, while mutual fund houses shall communicate the list of RGESS eligible mutual fund schemes or exchange traded funds to stock exchanges. The maximum investment permissible under RGESS is Rs 50,000. The money invested in RGESS mutual funds and even the other eligible instruments of RGESS is subject to overall lock-in period of 3 years. It is noteworthy that the scheme has a fixed lock-in period of 1 year, on the expiry of which one can sell, pledge or hypothecate one's securities. But withdrawal of money before 3 years is not possible. However, investors are allowed to churn their portfolio during the flexible lock-in period, that is, after the completion of the fixed lock-in period of 1 year. Further, in case the investor fails to comply with any conditions specified in RGESS, the benefits availed there under are withdrawn and the investor is liable for tax payment. You see, while there are a host of instruments of investing in RGESS, and to avail a tax benefit, investing in RGESS eligible exchange traded funds and or schemes offered by the mutual funds can aid first-time retail investors because mutual funds provide the expertise of professional fund management. Otherwise, first-time retail investors may find difficulty in identifying the right stocks and the valuation at which they should include them in their portfolio. By routing their money through mutual funds, they can be confident that their money will be used more efficiently in identifying the right stocks at right valuations through a process-driven investment strategy. And what's the tax benefit? The investment amount makes an investor eligible for a tax deduction under Section 80 CCG of the Income Tax Act 1961 to the tune of 50% of the amount invested for investments of up to Rs 50,000 only. But before you invest your hard-earned money in ELSS and or RGESS in your endeavor to save tax, here are a few important aspects that you should consider. Things to consider before investing in ELSS and RGESS mutual funds. First, your age. As we have learned in our earlier learning sessions, your age determines your asset allocation. Usually, at a younger age, the ability to take risk is high and vice versa. Thus, for prudent tax planning too, if you are young, you should allocate more towards market-linked tax-saving instruments such as ELSS and RGESS and less if you are much older. If you are young, the investment horizon would be fairly long, which in turn would enable you to make more aggressive investments and create wealth over the long term to meet your financial goals. Then comes your income. If your income is high, your willingness to take risk is generally high. This thus can facilitate you to skew your portfolio more towards equity-related instruments such as ELSS and RGESS in the endeavor to save tax. But if your income is not high enough, then tax planning the assured return way, that is by investing in instruments such as Public Provident Fund, National Savings Certificates, FIRE bank fixed deposits would be more appropriate. Likewise, your expenses and liabilities should be considered. If one is shouldering more expenses and have more obligations to meet, then investing in ELSS and RGESS, which offer market-linked returns, may not be suitable. But if one has well-controlled expenses and liabilities which result in high investable surplus, market-linked tax-saving instruments can be explored. Also, your financial goals is something to look at. If you have financial goals set in your life, such as buying your dream home, a car, planning for your children's education, their marriage, your retirement, etc., the same too could have an influence on your tax planning and investments in tax saving instruments. So say for example your goal is to retire from work 5 years from now, then your tax saving investment portfolio should be less skewed towards market-linked investment instruments such as ELSS and RGSS, as you are quite near your goal and your regular income will stop soon. But if you are many years away from your financial goal, you should ideally have maximum allocation to market-linked tax-saving instruments such as ELSS and RGSS, and less towards tax-saving instruments which provide you low assured returns. And then comes your risk appetite. It refers to an individual's willingness to take risk on the basis of an assessment of various facets such as age, income, expenses and liabilities, and financial goals that we just learned of. So say if your risk appetite is categorized as high, you can skew the tax saving portfolio more towards market-linked tax saving instruments such as ELSS, but if your risk appetite is relatively low, your tax saving investment portfolio should be ideally skewed towards instruments which offer you assured returns. And if you are a moderate risk taker, you can take a mix of 60-40 into market-linked tax saving instruments and assured return tax saving instruments respectively. So to summarize what we just learned, if your age permits, that is if you are young, income is high, expenses and liabilities are low, and therefore your willingness to take risk is high along with your financial goals being far away, you may look at ELSS and RGSS to avail a tax benefit under Section 80C and 80CCG respectively of the Income Tax Act 1961. Now before we end our learning session today, here are some points you need to remember. Effective tax planning is possible if options available under mutual fund investing are well explored and one has invested smartly. ELSS funds are subject to a compulsory lock-in period of 3 years. Investing in ELSS offers tax benefit under Section 80C of the Income Tax Act, subject to a maximum limit of Rs 1 lakh. However, it should be noted that one can always invest more than Rs 1 lakh in ELSS, but the tax benefit would be restricted only to a sum of Rs 1 lakh. RGSS eligible ETFs and mutual fund schemes and the other securities eligible for RGSS provide tax benefit to first-time retail investors. RGSS benefit is available to those whose gross annual income is less than or equal to Rs 10 lakh. The maximum investment permissible under RGSS is Rs 50,000. Investment in RGSS mutual funds and other securities eligible for RGSS is subject to an overall lock-in period of 3 years and a fixed lock-in period of 1 year. Investments in RGSS mutual funds and other securities eligible for RGSS offer a tax deduction under Section 80CCG of the Income Tax Act 1961 to the tune of 50% of the amount invested. And last but not the least, while investing in market-linked tax-saving instruments, it is vital to consider age, income, expenses and liabilities, financial goals, etc. And assessing all these, judge your risk appetite and thereafter invest in ELSS and RGSS mutual funds. So to end our learning exercise today, we now invite you to test your learning by taking up the simple quiz and win exciting prizes. Thank you for participating. Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.